Hello. Just briefly, I'd like to quickly give an amendment for the previous video that is also relevant for this one. A PGP key is actually used to send encrypted messages to people. So it's how Bitcoin transactions were negotiated, but not how the Bitcoin was directly sent. That would be done through normal wallet transfers. Also, thanks to Abyssus, a commenter who pointed that out as well. During 2022, the FBI were monitoring the darknet, as they generally do. Interestingly, they had caught on to what they believed to be one person/organization going by the various aliases of Trusted Trap House, Trustable Trap House, Trusty Trap, Popcorn Plug, and Golden Trails. They were spread across a multitude of different darknet marketplaces, specifically Ares, ASAP, Bohemia, Darko, Dark Fox, Incognito, Kerberos, Kingdom, Nemesis, Royal Market, Tortudor, Torres, Versus, and World Market. It was put together that all the accounts were linked to each other via some of them having matching PGP2 keys. Some had different PGP keys tied to only that one account, but they all have one thing in common. They all use the same introduction on their vendor page and sign with a -TTH or -TT for Trusted Trap House or Trusted Trappy or whatever the fuck, which seems counterproductive to me. The only reason you'd want to have different usernames and not keep the reputation between marketplaces is likely for security reasons. Say one of your accounts goes down and you with it. Well, you can't be charged for the stuff that can't be tied to the account that went down, right? There may be another reason, however. It is possible that this guy did not want to keep the reputation he had accrued, and you'll soon find out why. They advertise oxycodone pills in quantities ranging from 10 to 5,000 pills, methamphetamine in quantities of 3.5 grams to 4 ounces, heroin, and cocaine, as well as more. Within the description of their oxycodone on Darko, they stated, "These are not normal oxycodone 30 mg. These are much stronger than pharmaceutical oxycodone. These were not made by a pharmacy. These are the ones that taste like popcorn. They slide on foil perfectly. Golden Trails. Be careful, prices per pill. These are pressed oxy 30s that everyone's been falling head over heels for. We focus on quality over quantity. We believe you get what you paid for, and if you're trying to save a few bucks on something that you consume that literally alters your state of mind, you're shopping at the wrong store." A sentiment I don't generally disagree with. However, I'm yet to address what makes the oxycodone extra strong. Well, on February 2nd, 2022, an undercover FBI agent ordered 10 counterfeit oxycodone presses from Trusted Trap House for $65 in Bitcoin, which includes shipping from the darknet market, Darko, Reborn Market, to an address within the Eastern District of Virginia. They were advertised as pressed M30 oxycodone times 10 new. On February 9th, 2022, the pills arrived at the specified address in a priority mail envelope. USPS records show it initially entered the system in Peoria, Arizona. Inside was a manila envelope, which inside contained, can you guess? Another envelope. 3 envelopes in, the final envelope contained a bag with 10 blue pills inside. They were debossed with the letter M and the number 30. Upon being tested, it came back positive for fentanyl, with a weight of 1.102 grams. This guy is nasty. Selling fentanyl advertises oxycodone is fucked up and definitely a no-go in my books. For those who are unaware, it is an extremely potent opioid that has been increasingly involved in drug overdose deaths, literally quadrupling in deaths as of 2021 since 1999. It's a synthetic opioid, so man-produced, and some people claim it's up to 20 times more potent than heroin. In pretty much every case, though, it is at least as potent as heroin. The following day, law enforcement looked into the Bitcoin wallet that the undercover had purchased from and discovered a group of about 31 addresses, as well as a transaction from the same day, February 10th, 2022. It showed that what was assumedly the Bitcoin of the undercover had been sent to a second wallet, which then sent it to 11 more wallets associated with the cryptocurrency exchange. Looking at the exchange's records, they discovered that all 11 wallets were tied to a 31-year-old man named Rick Schiffner. The account also had a billing address, that being North 24th Place, Phoenix, Arizona. Holy shit, editor's note here. I didn't realize these guys literally lived in fucking Breaking Bad. I mean, look at this place. It's fucked up. On top of that, they discovered that a 30-year-old man named Devin Langer was living in the property as well, as he had the same billing address on the cryptocurrency exchange. Furthermore, they found there was another account with the same credit card tied to it as Rick Schiffner's account. This aforementioned account belonged to a 28-year-old woman named Veronica Dittman, who had helpfully participated in the cryptocurrency exchange's Know Your Customer process, which is a program intended to curb money laundering. However, a part of it meant that she had to send in a photo of herself and her ID, which was obviously still tied to her account at the time that the FBI looked into it. So here we have them, the three fucking stooges of darknet drug trafficking. Side note, I went down a research tangent on the Three Stooges while looking into this video, and I don't know, I think calling them Three Stooges is too much of a compliment considering the fact that they were apparently geniuses of comedy, but you get the idea, they're a bunch of dumbasses. The FBI ended up making numerous other purchases from them on other darknet marketplaces, such as Versus, where they ordered 100 pills total from Trustable Trap House, 50 on the 3rd of March 2022, and another 50 on April 5th, all of them laced with fentanyl, with the March purchase also containing acetaminophen and xylazine. I need to briefly emphasize how fucked putting xylazine with fentanyl is, just to show you how much of a dog cunt these guys are. Xylazine, when mixed with fentanyl, is commonly referred to on the street as trank or zombie drug. Oh yeah, that sounds like a perfectly reasonable name for a substance I'd put in my body. When xylazine is combined with fentanyl, it extends and amplifies the already extremely potent effects of fentanyl. The DEA reported in 2022 that approximately 23% of fentanyl powder contains xylazine, as well as 7% of fentanyl pills. Kinda like our fake oxy that the old trusted trappers have been dealing. It's been increasingly discovered in fentanyl-related overdoses. It's been increasingly discovered in fentanyl-related overdoses, and when the mixture is injected, it can cause necrosis that will likely lead to amputation. Kinda like crocodile, if you know what that is. Another big issue is that because it is not an opioid, Narcan does not reverse its effects either. Earlier in the month of March, on the 29th, they also purchased from the marketplace ASAP, with the username being Trusted Trap House. This time they had purchased 2 grams of heroin, and despite being in the process of testing during the release of this document, they suspected that it was as advertised. I couldn't locate the final result of the test though. They also purchased 10 pills from Popcorn Plug on the Royal Market the same day, which of course had the usual fentanyl and acetaminophen. The next purchase was on May 1st on ASAP again, this time being 2 ounces of meth, which did test as just straight up methamphetamine. On the 25th, they repeated the purchase, and this time they got slightly less methamphetamine. Yeah, their usernames couldn't be further from the truth. Law enforcement had actually begun surveillance on the property found in the billing address back in early May. On the 5th of May, they searched their garbage and discovered the remnants of packaging that was similar to the ones that they received in the orders from the dark web. The most interesting item discovered, however, was a red spiral notebook with the handwritten title Gratitude List. Rick's Please Don't Touch, Rick Schiffner. There were 4 visible and sticky notes hanging out the side with the dark markets Incognito, ASAP, Dark Fox, and Royal M written on each of them, all of which are markets Trusted Trap House was selling on, if you didn't pick that up. Even more absurdly, it contained pages and pages of records dating back to at least December 28th, 2021. This is that page. You can see it's a list of 16 usernames which were crossed out, but also displayed a first and last name. After checking the USPIS postage data, law enforcement discovered that at least 12 of the names had packages mailed to them. This motherfucker was deadass chucking out his book filled with pages of Dear Diary, today I lace XXX_crack smoker XXX's order of 400 oxycodone pills with a lethal dose of fentanyl. He could have picked anywhere but the bin outside the trap house on the public road, or fuck, at least try to destroy it first. Just look how easy this shit is.
Oh, this is the like pulp.
It used to be pretty difficult to learn that book, right?
Woke up with my mind upon a meal today. Gave the federal some fentanyl, he in a better place. He up in the clouds and I'm up in the long white cloud. In fact, he gon' do the race. If he ain't beat the case, he gonna have this gift town. Low, I spent like 30 cases up on these braces, they up bust down.
That's
make it way too much, make it just fucking up. In the newspapers, you can read all the big news. They thought they caught the kingpin, but Keezy on the streets, and I said me too. Plugging you with hoes of dirty clip to make you see through. He said he wasn't gone, and now he gone, you couldn't see it through. Come to budget, bitch, my crib got hella views.
Except for my chain once, won't let it happen twice. Can tell me shit that I don't know, so I don't ever need advice. Suckers try to test my game once, then fuckers pay the price. That's why I don't trust nobody, crush your body in a vice.
Or you could just like not write it down.
When they come out packing beef, when you just said you want some fries. You ain't about that life, bro, I can see it in your eyes. You turn a hoe into a wife, and turn some hoes out of some wives.
To float it off into the water, like give it a Viking burial. Yeah, bro.
Check my hoes and loyalty, they calling me a highness. They treat me like I'm royalty, they know that I'm the finest. I fucking wanna sing, even fucking wanna swing. But see some say my hoe, yo, I don't wanna start a thing. She said that I'm a princess, I'm a king.
I was expecting you to float. I was expecting you to float it away.
And we did just then.
Yeah, throw it on so it goes out. It's just a floating fucking fire.
Fuck around with a mighty meal today. Give a federal some fentanyl, he in a better place. I've been in close and I'm up in a low like clouds. I don't know how to feel today.
Yeah, bro, that's
Slitted and this was like floating foot.
bit bubbling.
It's fucked up, bro. What's that for going? Look at it, bro.
Ooh, fuck, you're loud.
Oh, fuck, it is loud. I reckon some of it could be recovered.
I'm gonna go for a shot.
I don't think they would read anything from
Aren't these guys called boobies?
Fuck me, cunt. Fucking shit, cunt.
So now that we've established how easy it is for him to have just destroyed the evidence, we move on to July 14th, 2022, where law enforcement confirmed Veronica Dittman is involved during physical surveillance, as she is seen at the property leaving. Here is a photo of that. Phone toll records reveal both Devin Langer and Rick Schiffner are also in the top 10 contacts of Veronica, with previous physical surveillance also revealing that they would frequently be hanging out together. On August 11, 2022, Rick Schiffner was arrested by the FBI in Phoenix, Arizona in relation to the ongoing investigation. It's noted that 3 days later, on August 14th, 2022, Devin Langer talks to an uncharged individual. I suppose this means that they are still under investigation, or perhaps they're an informant. Regardless, they are referred to as W1, so I shall as well. It begins with W1 asking Devin, "What are you doing?" Devin responds stating, "Picking up Fetty. This is honestly the last thing I have to do." I find this interesting because, as you are soon to find out, they actually generally use code words when referring to the business. Granted, code words is a bit of a stretch, as I'm also soon to establish, but anyway, the communication continues with W1 asking, "From who? You're Mexican?" Which Devin responds with, "No, from Rick's stash, held by Veronica." It was a theory of mine that perhaps the police were posing as Rick in these messages, but that's proven false by the fact that Devin refers to Rick as if he isn't there. Anyway, on October 6th, 2022, Devin Langer is also arrested by the FBI in Las Vegas, Nevada, again in relation to the case. As of December 2nd, 2022, Schiffner pleads guilty to a conspiracy to distribute controlled substances charge, with the specification that they had dealt 50 grams or more of a mixture or substance containing methamphetamine and fentanyl. I need to emphasize this is an extremely speedy guilty plea. He was aiming for world record pace in the any percent drug trafficking sentencing category. It could generally take years for law enforcement to get a sentence, but this guy was in and out of the system, straight into jail in fucking no time. Not only that, but he also confirms that him and Devin Langer use different monikers, including Trusted Trap House, on a multitude of darknet marketplaces as a vendor. Funnily enough, also in December 2022, but not exactly specified what day, a confidential source admitted to law enforcement that they had participated in conspiracy to distribute controlled substances using the various Trusted Trap House monikers. On top of that, they claimed that Veronica Dittman worked with Rick Schiffner to sell drugs as well. Upon being shown a photo of Veronica, he positively identified her and stated that he knew Veronica had been working for Schiffner since approximately late 2021. Reading this document, it looks like the guy writing it was trying his hardest to make the confidential source the least confidential source of all time. Like, information from the debrief is attached to CS1, regardless of whether CS1's identity is explicitly referenced elsewhere in this affidavit. So yeah, I reckon Dick Schniffer only sold fentanyl-laced oxy, but he also snitched on his business partners. The most trustable trapper on Ja. Anyway, he stated that Veronica would come round and fill out orders made from the various darknet marketplaces by helping package and send them, with the average working hours of 10 PM to 7 AM. Can you guess her compensation? Not money. It wasn't even crack. Nah, that's too classy. This motherfucker was being compensated in powdered fentanyl. Something that law enforcement also brought into consideration was that between January 2022 and July 2022, over 500 telephone calls had occurred between Schiffner and a new, yet-to-be-named challenger, Christopher Fleet. Christopher was an inmate at FCI Sheridan in Sheridan, Oregon, so the calls were recorded. They would frequently talk about the darknet drug business by referring to it as a t-shirt and clothing business. Typically, both parties of a prison phone call are informed it's being recorded, so they really thought they were being slick. Anyway, as an example of what I mean, there was a recording from January 3rd, 2022, where they discussed the clothing business. Schiffner stated that he was busy and had 25 packages to send out. Yeah, 25 t-shirt packages, obviously. On January 6th, 2022, one of those aforementioned calls between Schiffner and Fleet occurred. It was based around Schiffner complaining to Fleet that several orders went missing and that he has had to write to several people to tell them to resubmit them. This is assumedly him talking about responding to negative reviews on the dark market. Due to the missing orders, Fleet ended up suggesting Schiffner went on vacation, which refers to when a dark market vendor sets their profile status to vacation mode, which basically means they aren't selling for the duration of the profile status. There was also an audible, unidentified male in the background stating, "I don't have any labels made." I'ma have a guess and just say that's Devin Langer in the background. Oh yeah, and by the way, I don't actually have access to these calls. They weren't listed in the court documents anywhere. All we have is just the transcript. Another call of note is from April 30th, 2022. It was focused around Schiffner complaining to Fleet that Veronica is lazy and that good help was hard to find. He proceeded stating that when Veronica took over the market, they had been receiving an influx of negative reviews. Funnily enough, the day before, on the 29th, the feds had observed Trusted Trap House responding to a negative review on the ASAP dark market, stating, "I'm sorry you had a bad experience. If there's any way to make it up to you, please let us know. Again, I apologize." This is also the last notable communication between Christopher Fleet and Rick Schiffner. December 8th, 2022, a search warrant is authorized for 2 phones discovered on Schiffner's person when he was arrested on August 11, 2022. Inside were some text messages of note between Veronica and Schiffner. The first one is from January 22nd, 2022. Damn, we really be headed backwards in the timeline. Regardless, it begins with Veronica saying, "Phoenix packages dropped off. There's just one temper drop left." The aforementioned confidential source, CS1, explained that it's packages, plural, and not singular, because they would use multiple USPS collection boxes to avoid detection. As I'm sure it's been made clear, there are far more egregious fuck-ups when it comes to their OPSEC, aka operational security. And this should have probably been the last of their worries, but the effort is cute. Anyway, Schiffner responds stating, "You rock. Thank you." The next message law enforcement thinks is of note is from 2 days later on the 24th of January, with Veronica messaging to say, "Packages were dropped off at the collection box. I'm dropping Devin off right now at your guy's house." Law enforcement appear to believe there isn't anything else of note until April 6th, 2022, with Schiffner asking, "How many didn't you finish?" and Veronica responding, "I finished 5 of them. The rest are bagged up. I just couldn't pay for the labels. If the computer is still up and running, I can come and finish them." Based on this, I can assume labels refers to shipping labels. Anyway, the next communication is from April 10th, 2022, starting with Schiffner asking what packages for these, and Veronica stating, "Charms." Schiffner goes on to explain, "Yes, remember there are no bags, and before we were putting the black bag inside to cardboard to save money." I just had a fucking aneurysm saying that. 2 days later, on the 12th, Schiffner is seen yet again criticizing Veronica, stating, "You forgot a bunch of orders on incognito." Veronica responds, "When I checked, there was none, so they must be new." Schiffner doesn't even acknowledge her excuse and goes on to say, "There's also some on there that haven't gotten anything yet. There were a bunch of incog messages." In my opinion, all the previous messages are nowhere near as damning as these next ones from April 29th, 2022. It begins with Schiffner asking, "Do you know if I needed to get anything more for the store from my buddy?" There's an annotation at the bottom of the page stating that Schiffner frequently referred to his drug supplier as buddy. Anyway, Veronica responds with, I don't know." Schiffner clearly kind of tilted now, says, "Like, product, you should know." Now here comes the big whammy. Veronica says in response, nose powder. For all the effort they were putting in referring to it as a t-shirt business, etc., this seems like an extremely obvious code word, even for those morons. But Schiffner thinks nothing of it apparently and says, okay. Now, I have surveyed a bunch of my friends on what this code word could possibly mean other than a snortable drug, and the women of those surveyed said it could be referring to the powdered makeup you use on your nose. I'd be absolutely schizo, or as a friend of mine says, freaking the fuck out if some co-conspirator in a drug crime messaged me nose powder. Regardless, Veronica proceeds to explain probably more blue. I just need to print these labels out. It would take 5 minutes. According to the confidential source, blue refers to the fentanyl-laced oxycodone pills. On May 4th, 2022, Veronica sent a photo of a receipt showing that she had purchased several mailing products with the text requesting, "Can you send me $20 for the packaging?" Law enforcement looked into the Walmart purchase records and concluded the purchase was made with a debit card owned by Veronica as well. Nah, I haven't heard of cash either. No idea what that is. The law had also took note of the fact that on August 8th, 2022, Veronica ordered a roll of 220 4-inch by 6-inch direct thermal shipping labels, as well as a label holder which acts like one of those tape rollers. Basically a product that only a drug dealer or a degenerate drop shipper would need. Might I add, these were both delivered directly to her house. And it's noted by law enforcement that nearly every undercover order from Trusted Trap House used the same labels that she purchased. Interestingly, 3 parcels that Trusted Trap House is believed to have mailed were retrieved by a USPS mail carrier on June 3rd, 2022 at a collection box less than a kilometer away from Veronica's house. Surveillance footage of the location showed a blue Mini Cooper pulling up at 7:16 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. The vehicle resembled the same one registered to Veronica. When a photo of this was shown to the confidential witness, he confirmed it was indeed hers. Let me point out that Veronica's general working hours went till 7 a.m, so she would have just gotten off shift and then went to go dump the packages in a collection box. At the beginning of the next year, January 5th, 2023, a federal grand jury indicts Langer with conspiring with Schiffner and others to distribute 40 grams or more of fentanyl as well as methamphetamine actual. Interestingly, a criminal complaint is raised against Veronica on January 17th, 2023. However, a motion to seal is passed so that there is no way that this information could be disclosed to Veronica herself until she is arrested. Speaking of, finally, on January 25th, 2023, the last of the trio, Veronica Dittman, is arrested. Notably, by the time of her arrest, Veronica had her own vendor accounts. She had actually paid Devin Langer $500 to teach her how to create darknet vendor accounts. That's a pretty fucking high price for a pretty simple service, but I suppose it's not really a surprise that they were scamming each other as well. Anyway, she had 2 accounts on Alphabet, with one of them called Virtual Peddler and the other Darkhead. The Virtual Peddler account was made back on April 17th, 2022, and she had actually sold the fentanyl-laced oxycodone through it at least 49 times, with 74 total orders fulfilled. They were advertised as M30 pressed oxycodone Primo A1 Blues. So assumedly she was selling the stuff that Rick Schiffner was paying her with. It's stated that the last time she accessed the account was on September 27th, 2022, which is shortly after Rick was arrested and a bit before Devin was. Additionally, drug tests revealed that she had tested positive for fentanyl, MDMA, amphetamines, methadone, cocaine, and methamphetamine. The methadone is especially notable due to the fact that it is generally used in treatment for recovering opioid addicts. This means she's already had a drug sentencing hefty enough to put her through rehab. She is also unemployed and appears to just use her time helping people sell drugs in exchange for, well, drugs. I mean, I guess you can call it a grind. It's also stated that she has a husband, who will come up a bit later. In the next month, on February 9th, 2023, Veronica receives her indictment. It covers pretty much everything that's been established already and how she was involved with the dealing. Yet another month later, on March 24th, 2023, Veronica enters a plea agreement to plead guilty to the dealing charges. Guess she was trying to beat Rick Schiffner's record or something, I don't know. Rick Schiffner ended up being sentenced April 14th, 2023 to 150 months imprisonment for all the usual drug charges, and Devin Langer was sentenced a few days later on April 17th, 2023 to 84 months imprisonment. I couldn't find any mention of it other than in like one court document, but apparently both of them caught an additional firearm charge or something. Or maybe there was one in the the trap house. Finally, that brings us to, well, last month as of recording this video, on July 14th, 2023. Veronica Dittman is sentenced to 16 months imprisonment with the charge of conspiracy to distribute controlled substances including fentanyl and methamphetamine. A letter from her boyfriend, who I'm just gonna call Scott due to the recency of the case, was actually filed the same day she was sentenced. It reads as follows. Your Honor, I have known Veronica Fallon Dittman for almost a decade. We've been going out as boyfriend/girlfriend for about 8 years, so I know the defendant well, one would say. Veronica is one of the most driven people I've ever met. Very rarely does she not accomplish goals she has set her mind on. She inspired me to go and get help and get clean. I was at rock bottom and homeless at the time. I did it for myself, but I also did it for her, so we could continue our relationship. While I was receiving help from a rehab facility, she was working 2 jobs. I believe one was a call center where she proceeded to further up her position at the company Alpha Connect. The other job was working graveyard at a bread processing plant, I believe. I'm not quite sure, as it was a long time ago. She was driven and still is, and she persevered in order to pay for her own apartment, which we know in this day and age, unless you are making decent money, it is hard to pay for your own place without a roommate or a significant other. But again, she made it happen. I respect that the courts have found Veronica Dittman guilty of this crime. I'm writing this letter to offer more of a complete picture of who Veronica Dittman is as a person. I can honestly say that she would not have done what she did if her mind was not cloudy from substance abuse. I know that in my heart, she is the most kind and caring soul. I appreciate you for taking the time to read this letter even though it was not submitted in time, and for that I apologize. Scott. Ignore the fact that I probably changed resolution midway through that letter. If I didn't, I'm just schizophrenic. I have a habit of misreading them, so I had to re-record. The main reason though is that while editing, I discovered some more letters that didn't make it into one of the original 2 cuts of this video. The following will be 2 letters that were filed in court on the 7th of July 2023. One is written by Veronica herself and the other her parents. Honorable Judge Ellis, I would like to thank you for allowing the opportunity to speak today. I would also like to thank my family for coming to support me during this time of need. I should like to start off by apologizing to the courts, the people I have inadvertently harmed, my family, and myself. I take full responsibility for my actions and I am deeply remorseful for what I have done. I was blinded by my addiction, making mistakes that I sincerely regret. Unfortunately, I can't change the decisions I've made, but I can change my future and my way of thinking and living. During my incarceration at Northern Neck Region Jail, I've had the opportunity to attend and complete the substance abuse program. I plan to take advantage of the resources available to me during my incarceration in a federal facility and become a fully functional member of society. I recognize I have a physical and mental addiction that I will have to fight for each and every day for the rest of my life as I wake up every day to keep moving forward to live a life without drugs. In recovery, I have learned to depend on a greater power than myself. I know that I have to surrender myself to Christ. Matthew 19:26 says, "Through God all things are possible." I respectfully ask that you consider a reduced sentence for me. I'm committed to making a positive change to my life. I no longer want to be a hindrance on society, but to be a part of it. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Veronica Dittman. Fair enough. I wish her luck on her journey to sobriety. Being in prison probably helps. As I've said previously, the next one is from her parents, who I will remove the names of and just refer to as Veronica's parents. It goes as follows. Honorable Judge, we are writing this letter in regards to our daughter, Veronica Fallon Dittman, for her sentencing. Veronica had a problem with drugs early on as a teenager. She was introduced to the drug world by older adults who preyed upon Veronica and introduced her to opiates, which led to her addiction. As a police officer with the city of Scottsdale, Arizona, I see firsthand how drug addiction destroys lives with little to no chance of rehabilitation without the assistance and support of family. Even then, some are not able to overcome their addictions. We will always be there to support her, but we will not enable her. I have talked with many parents about the addiction process and the battle it takes to overcome it. I found that addicts can overcome the physical addiction, but the mental addiction is a daily fight that many will succumb to, and they relapse if they are not afforded the opportunity for a new start without someone believing in them. My wife and I believe in our daughter, that she can overcome this and be a contributing member of society if given the chance. Veronica's involvement with drugs has cost her dearly, which resulted in several felony charges and incarcerated in the Maricopa County Estrella Jail at 20 20 years old. While incarcerated, she attended and completed the Alpha program, which led to her early release and gave her the tools to be successful. Upon her release, she immediately gained employment and attended all of her counseling and classes that were required of her, completing her terms of prohibition without any setbacks. When the COVID-19 pandemic happened, Veronica lost her job and she became severely depressed. With her past, she was unable to gain employment and fell back into the drug world. The people she was associating with, unbeknownst to us, led her down a dangerous path. We do not condone what Veronica has done, and she understands that she needs to accept responsibility for her actions. Veronica understands the seriousness of her actions, will not repeat this behavior. I believe while she is incarcerated, she will use this opportunity to better herself through programs that are offered to her. Veronica can be a very driven young lady when she puts her mind to it. In the past, she has expressed wanting to be a counselor to young adults and teenagers. I believe that she can achieve this or another profession through the educational opportunity that can be afforded to her during her incarceration. I know she will work hard to become a productive member of society. Veronica has admitted to having a substance abuse problem, and she is participating and completing the substance abuse program at Northern Neck while awaiting her sentencing. I know the focus across the country is on the fentanyl crisis that is gripping the nation, and strict enforcement penalties are a result of it. This is a non-violent crime, and we are asking and praying for your leniency during sentencing. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Respectfully, Veronica's parents. A sad story, no doubt. However, it is sweet of our parents to believe in their daughter's battle against addiction, and I hope the belief turns out to be true. Overall, the trio had completed well over 1,300 sales in the course of just over a year, with a metric shit ton of that being fentanyl-laced oxycodone. According to the government's positioning on Veronica's sentencing, she was packaging approximately 20 to 40 orders a night. Their conservative estimates claimed that the trio had moved over 800 grams of counterfeit pills containing fentanyl, 500 grams of methamphetamine actual, 16 grams of heroin, and finally 7 grams of cocaine. As I've already made clear throughout the video, these guys were dealing fentanyl-laced oxycodone pills, which is definitely the worst thing they've done in this situation from a moral standpoint. Although they did have the weak warning stating that they were much stronger than the average pill, the majority of people aren't going to instantly assume that means there's fucking fentanyl in them. However, being fair, it is notable that supposedly the dark web hosts forbid the use of the word fentanyl, but that just implies to me it's a banned product on the market, and for good reason. Approximately 76% of all overdose deaths in Virginia 2022 were caused by fentanyl. This is because of people lacing their products with it and not informing the end user of what they are actually consuming. All of this was taken into consideration when they were receiving the sentencing as well, so it's especially relevant, but a point I wanted to make regardless. That wraps up everything I've been able to get my hands on in terms of information. Pretty much everything in this video was originally sourced from just the affidavit on Veronica, as it was the only document I could find publicly available due to it being uploaded to Document Cloud by the staff of Insider. Respect the Insider, bro. New Vice as well, holy shit. However, the video was somewhat delayed by me waiting for the US government to mail to my house in New Zealand, and yes, I mean mail, not email, the instructions on how to activate my Pacer account, so I could have access to all the documents and make amendments to the video if there was any additional info, which, oh god, oh fuck, I didn't think it would result in me having to actually make the same fucking video twice. But there we go. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe for ever improving content in the future with topics similar to this, as well as other stuff I'm interested in. Thanks for watching.